Hi guys, this is Wade from Wade's Orchids here, and we are going to have another Back to Basics. This Back to Basic is going to be about repotting Paphiopedilums. A lot of you have purchased paths from me in past years. Maybe you just purchased one recently from me or anyone else, it doesn't matter. And this is going to pertain primarily to the Maudii types, which have the mottled leaves here, and also the green leaf types that have the real round flowers. Some people call them bulldog paths, but it does not apply to the multifloral paths. They get potted a little bit different. So what we're going to do here, first of all, is determine when to repot. These can actually be repotted at any time, even when they are in full flower like this. However, I don't recommend it. What we want to do is we would like to enjoy the flowers here as long as possible, and the flowers can break while you're repotting. Repotting will probably tend to shorten the flower life at least a little bit. It will not really cause the plant to suffer much more or anything like that, but we grow them for the flowers, so that's what we'd like to do. So we want to wait till it's done flowering, and then we want to look for the new growth here. You see, there's a new growth that's just starting. That's not big enough. We would like to rather have the growth at least about halfway up, because this is about the point where it will start putting out new roots of its own. So we will have nice fresh media for the roots to go into. And so this is a prime candidate. I think this was watered about a day ago, so that the media and the roots are at least moderately moist. So we want to take any stakes or anything like that off. It's a good opportunity to look, and if there be any dead leaves or anything, to remove that. And then we will kind of, as easy as we can, take this out of the media of the pot. And a lot of times, unless the plant just really physically does not seem that it will go back into the same pot, I will tend to put it right back in. If you want, you can wash the pot out between times. I take a look at it, just kind of rub around. Okay, this is a really nice pot for paths. This is what I get most of my paths in, and they do a very nice job. Now, if you look at this is potted in pretty much medium bark and a little bit of perlite. And that is what we're going to pot it in. So if you'll excuse me just a second, I'm going to get myself some fresh potting mix. And there we go. This will be plenty for what we need. Just slide this over a little bit. This is also a good time to cut this off. So we'll get our clippers, and I cut it off as close as I can to the bottom without damaging anything. Only cut these off if you, number one, if you know from experience that this plant will not put out any more flowers. Or number two, if the flower spike has gone brown, which means that it's dead. Because there are some of these that will put out a second flower. They don't do it all the time, but they will sometimes. So what I'm going to do is put this back in here. I'm just going to kind of work it back in. And since I repot these every year, we pot it into the middle of the pot, because we don't have to worry too much about the plant growing out over the edge or anything like that. And we just tap around here, and the bark and perlite will hopefully just fall into place. Now what we want to do is just kind of work this around a little bit, tap it a bit, make sure it settles in nicely. And I want to fill this up to just a touch above where the roots come out. And as we get to the top here, I put a little bit of pressure on, and yeah, if you can see, that's just about perfect there, how that's supposed to go. Okay, now from experience with a couple of commercial path growers, one of which I buy most of my paths from, there is a fairly standard technique that's used with this, and that is to use the medium bark and perlite, which is a Cattleya mix, like I did here. And then what we do is we use magic dust, or as other people call this, sand. Okay, I like to use this is just builder's sand here. It's moderately coarse, and we'll just sprinkle this around in here. And what this does is it will water in. Usually I put like maybe a couple teaspoons worth at the most. Tap it a little bit, and now all we have to do, this is Paphiopedilum luna spots, which is an alba similar to this one right here. And I do like to label things for when I repot them. And in this case, actually, I like to use a second label. And these labels we can use a pencil on. And it is 2 of 20. And we put that right with it here, so we know when it was repotted last. And like I said, these should be repotted every year, not because the bark will break down, but because they actually like being repotted. You could repot them as often as every 6 months if you wanted to, but doing it once a year, I noticed that usually very shortly after repotting, I noticed an increase in growth, an increase in new roots being formed. Sometimes I notice that's when things start to get real fat down here at the base, which signifies that we're going to have a flower coming, and that's about it. One thing that we hope for is as we grow our paths that, here, let me take this off, and we'll get another piece of paper. I will do this one for you also. There, we can just throw this away. We would hope, as our paths get older, that we have things like this. We see an old growth here, and here's another old growth. Really nice. The leaves are still doing pretty good. We have an old leaf back here, which I'm going to kind of work off there. It comes out pretty easy. You can cut them off if they don't want to pull off easily. But the important thing is we have a new growth here and we have a new growth here. That means 2 flowers instead of 1. And this is what we like to see as our plants get older through the years. So we're going to pull this out of here, and yeah, if you notice, I think I could show you on this. This is pretty wet yet. I'll pick up some of the bark, and if you look at the bark very closely, I'll hold it up to the camera here. You can probably see some specks, which is the sand that was used in here from before. And the sand adds surface area for the water to cling to. And looks like a portion of a root broke off there, but that's okay. It will grow back. And just put this out. Yeah, even on my fingers here, you can see there's little pieces of sand. So, well, look at this. This has one very small root that I just broke off there. A lot of times you don't have to worry about using shears or clippers or anything in repotting this, because usually the old roots that might have died can be pulled off fairly easily, and any old leaves can be pulled off. That way you don't. It's one less avenue for germs or not germs, but bacteria and fungus to be transferred. So here we are again, back with our pot, and I'll center this back in here. You notice this did not have a whole lot of roots. A lot of times paths don't have a lot of roots. So I will fill in around here. I think I'm going to have to get another handful or so of bark. But I don't have to finish. But we're going to just do the same thing as the other. Fill it up. Tap around to let it settle down in there like that. I don't firm this nearly as much as I do cattleyas. I use a lot of force when I do cattleyas. This I just kind of like make sure that things are settled in there, and then it's ready to go for another year. And that's about it. If you have any questions, usually with this method I water about twice a week. These will take a good amount of light as long as it's not direct sun. I'm fortunate here in the greenhouse. I've got polycarbonate which diffuses all the light, so I can actually give these quite a bit of light and they will do well. So that's about it. If you have any questions, please post them below and I'll answer them if I can. And this is Wade from Wade's Orchids. Hope you can take care of your paths now, and I will see you next time. Bye bye and happy growing.